Think for a moment. You weigh less than 30 grams. Your bones are hollow, your skin has nowhere near enough fat to keep you warm, and you have no house, no blanket, no lock on the door. The sun just set, the temperature is dropping. And somewhere out there, in the darkness spreading between the trees, there are owls, cats, opossums, and foxes sniffing the air in search of exactly someone like you. What do? That is the reality of every single bird that visits your backyard. Every single day. And what happens over the next 12 hours, while you are warm, safe, under your roof, is one of the most fascinating and least told stories in nature. Today, we are going to cross that invisible line between dusk and dawn. We are going to reveal what your birds actually do when the light disappears. And what you discover is going to completely change the way you look at them when the sun rises again. First, let's undo the biggest misconception about how birds sleep. Most people believe that birds sleep the way we do. They lie down, close their eyes, and switch off. Simple, passive, unconscious. Science says otherwise. Researchers at Indiana University, studying starlings and sparrows in the lab, discovered that birds have the ability to sleep with only half their brain at a time. The phenomenon is called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep, and it is exactly what it sounds like. While one side of the brain rests, the other remains fully alert, processing sounds, monitoring movement, ready to trigger an alarm response in a fraction of a second. In practical terms, when your sparrow closes one eye at night, it is literally sleeping with the other one open. Think about the cost of that. Imagine trying to rest, recover energy, repair muscles, and at the same time, never, not for a single moment, being able to fully disconnect from the world. For us, it would be exhausting. For them, it is simply the condition of being alive. But where do they do this? Where do your backyard birds actually spend the night? The answer depends on each species, and every solution reveals a different kind of intelligence. Finches and sparrows, those small sociable birds that compete for space at your feeder during the day, rarely sleep alone. When the sun goes down, they seek out dense shrubs, plants with interlocking branches, foliage that blocks the wind and traps heat, and inside those thickets, they huddle together. This is not a coincidence. It is applied physics. Each tiny warm body pressed against another works like a natural radiator. A group of 10 finches sleeping together, nestled side by side, loses significantly less heat than 10 birds sleeping apart. Studies from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology show that the temperature inside a cluster of birds can be up to 12 degrees Celsius higher than the surrounding air. 12 degrees, just from togetherness. And there is something more beautiful in this behavior than simple mathematics. Birds that spend the day fiercely competing for space at the feeder, pecking, pushing, establishing hierarchies, become silent allies at night. Survival dissolves rivalry. If you watch backyard birds, tell me in the comments. Have you ever noticed your visitors gathering together at the end of the day, right before it gets completely dark? Where do they usually go? I love reading those observations. Every detail helps us better understand their behavior. Now, hummingbirds. If sparrows solve the cold problem through togetherness, hummingbirds take a radically different and far more extreme approach. A hummingbird in normal activity has a metabolism so fast that if it doesn't feed every few minutes during the day, it collapses. Its heart can beat more than 1,000 times per minute. Its body temperature hovers around 42 degrees Celsius. It is like living with a race car engine running 24 hours a day. Sustaining that through the night with no food would be impossible. So what do? They shut down. Not metaphorically. Literally. In a state called torpor, the hummingbird lowers its body temperature to near ambient, from 42 degrees to less than 10 in some species. The heart, which was beating more than 1,000 times per minute, drops to fewer than 50. Breathing becomes so slow it can appear as though the animal is dead. In my years of watching birds, few things have struck me as deeply as witnessing a hummingbird coming out of torpor. It is slow. It is gradual. The tiny body begins to tremble softly. The heart speeds up in stages, the eyes open little by little. It can take 20 minutes before it is capable of flying again. Every single dawn. That tiny bird you see arriving at your feeder first thing in the morning vibrant and unstoppable, it just came back to life. Again. And what about the birds that don't sleep at all at night? There are species that completely flip the script, owls, obviously, but also certain thrushes during migration do something extraordinary. They migrate at night using the stars as a compass. Researchers at Cornell University discovered, in now famous experiments with indigo buntings, that fledglings learn to locate north by watching the rotation point of the night sky during the first days of their lives. They memorize the position of the North Star, or more precisely the rotational axis of the sky, before they ever make their first migration. They navigate by stars. Birds that fit in the palm of your hand cross entire continents guided by the same astronomy that took humans millennia to understand. If you're also fascinated by these tiny feathered wonders and want to keep uncovering the secrets behind every behavior you observe in your backyard, consider subscribing and giving the video a like. That's how these stories reach more people who want to care for birds the right way. But let's come back to your backyard. To those birds you know by their habits, their favorite perches, their usual spot on the lowest branch of your tree. There is one last secret of the night I need to share. Close to dawn, usually between 30 and 60 minutes before the sun appears, when the sky is still dark for most of us, the birds sing. This phenomenon has a name, the dawn chorus, and for centuries it was seen as a simple, welcoming ritual for the new day. Science, once again, revealed something far deeper. Studies published in the journal Animal Behavior show that the dawn chorus is, in fact, a declaration of survival. Every bird that sings is announcing to its neighbors, its rivals, and its mate, "I survived the night. I am here. I am strong." The strength of a male's song right at dawn directly communicates to his partner, or to potential new ones, the quality of his genes. The more vigorous the song after a night of cold, hunger, and danger, the better the genetic material. It is a proof of resilience, sung out loud for the entire world to hear. That music that wakes you in the morning, that you might hear without really listening while you make your coffee, it is the victory cry of an animal that faced the darkness and won. And here we arrive at the promise I made at the very beginning. I said that what birds do at night would change the way you see them at dawn. Now you know. Every sparrow at your feeder in the morning slept with half a brain awake, vigilant, ready to fly at any instant. Every hummingbird that arrives at your feeder bright and buzzing just revived from a state bordering on death. Every thrush that sings before the sun rises is declaring, with all the force of its tiny lungs, that it survived one more time. They don't just sleep. They wage a silent, invisible battle every single night, and show up for you every single morning, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Because for them, it is. That is what they do. That is who they are. And the next time you hear that first song before the sun comes up, I want you to pause for just a second. Take a breath. And listen, not just to the sound, but to the story behind it. You'll hear it differently. I promise. Tell me in the comments. After all of this, how are you going to look at your birds tomorrow morning? Are you going to listen for the dawn chorus? Take care, and happy bird watching.